Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Well, let's talk about it. If you like that mortgage payment of 6.5 Creed ammo being expended, do us a favor and hit that little subscribe button and drop a comment below. The algorithm gods will thank you for your service. Listen, Cody Curry here, and this is 110 SAS Actual, a small slice of unobtainium. That's what we have here today. The all-new Knights Armament 14.5 inch 6.5 Creedmoor SR25. It'd be a safe guess that probably fewer than 100 of these guys are out here in the wild that is the civilian's hands. I happened to bump into one, and well, you just can't pass something like this up. So I got it here, and of course, like God and Eugene intended, I swapped out that gross URX6 M-Lock thing for this gorgeous and aesthetic URX 3.1. Other than that, she's all stock. So let me tell you what old Melbatos is packing here. We have a 14.5 inch heavy contour pipe chambered in the most heavily debated cartridge since the birth of the internet, maybe forever. Paired here with some of the most delicious dimples since Don Draper blessed me with his presence on TV. Man Crush Monday already? Anyways, you have the URX6 rail, which is essentially just a URX4 in appearance without the QD sling mounts. On the receiver here, we have some new roll marks to indicate the caliber, an ambi charging handle, and a slightly redesigned bolt carrier with a all-new firing pin system. So, let's dive in and talk about each of these features. First, the rail. From the factory, you'll be getting the all-new URX6 rail. It's a 13-inch M-Lock rail with QD flush cups deleted. Don't worry, KAC provides you with a rail-mounted sling stud. The cups have been deleted not necessarily because nobody was using them, but because of the brand new barrel nut that this upper utilizes. Unfortunately, due to its size, there simply wasn't enough room between the bottom of the cup and the barrel nut, so it's been deleted. I'd look to see rail-mounted flush cups completely deleted from their lineup moving forward. The rail is insanely light and seems pretty dang durable as well. It's ultra lightweight. It's a nice touch to the platform, and so sure, as you know, large frame gassers simply aren't the most fun to carry. Moving forward, we have the 2-port muzzle brake that duals as a QD mount for the KAC lineup of cans. The performance of this brake is pretty dang impressive. It feels more consistent with the 5.56 with a flash hider to the shoulder, to be honest. Coming from shooting a tremendous amount of 7.62 gassers with cans and flash hiders, any configuration possible, well, it was quite a surprise to have the feeling of a 5.56 gun, yet the ballistics and energy of the 6.5 Creed. When I swapped the break off for a can, recoil felt just a touch lighter than your typical 7.62 gasser. Now, I was kind of sad about that really because I want the can on it, but it does come with a very noticeable amount of felt recoil difference. Now, the barrel. This is one of the literal handful of factory-produced Knights armament uppers to feature a dimpled barrel. Well, why is that important? This process is nothing new. Companies have been fluting barrels, machining dimples for decades. The idea is that this increases surface area of the barrel and will allow for a quicker dissipation of heat while also shaving a little bit of weight. When done by a competent machinist, this will not affect your accuracy. And when it comes to the 6.5 Creedmoor, keeping it as cool as possible will increase its already shortened life due to the higher pressures and velocity it produces. With a typical firing schedule, I would expect somewhere in between 5,000 to 7,000 rounds before your accuracy starts to fall off, compared to a .308 barrel that pushes, well, into the 5 figures. Now, if you're out there shooting like some totally irresponsible goober, well, let's just say your results may vary. You have your ambidextrous charging handle here. Nothing really to write home about. It works and works well, keeping a smaller footprint than some of these absolute monster handles that have been caught on every single piece of kit possible. But the neat thing is this new bolt carrier group. Let's take a look. Redesigned firing pin. It's actually spring-loaded here, and unlike any other mil-spec firing pin I've ever seen, I can't say for certain as to why this was done. I would imagine it has something to do with the additional pressure the 6.5 has versus the 7.62 to help protect it from premature wear and tear. The bolt carrier is a hard-chromed sand cutter, which has these clearance spaces milled into the carrier here. This is to allow dirt, sand, debris, and carbon buildup a channel to escape and aid in preventing malfunctions from such debris. This is extremely nice because you see, it's very dusty here in my mother's basement, so I can totally go longer without cleaning it now. Anyways, Knights has been making the serrations in their carriers for quite some time now, so this concept isn't necessarily new. However, it is not a standard feature of the SR15 lineup, while it is on the all-new manufactured SR25s. The bolt is also a hard chrome finish with dual extractors to aid in reliability of ejection. So we know the fine details, but how does it run? Well, it's a phenomenal piece. Buttery smooth action and recoil, light and easy to point. The 14.5-inch barrel, well, it makes for a much less musket-like feel and much more like your typical 14.5 carbine. 14.5-inch regardless of caliber just feels nice. It's the best combination of maneuverability without sacrificing too much muzzle velocity and downrange ballistics. Now speaking of ballistics, let's talk about this extremely shortened 6.5 Creedmoor. But my muzzle velocity, but my waste of cartridge, and all that other fudlore. Since when has more energy and better ballistics in the same length as a standard US infantry M4 carbine a bad thing? Plot twist. It's not. But it's supposed to be a precision cartridge. It is still. Barrel length has absolutely nothing to do with accuracy. A well-made 14.5 6.5 barrel can absolutely print better groups at 600 meters than say a 26-inch barrel. Barrel length only affects your muzzle velocity. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. If your goal is to hit targets at 1,200 yards all day, well, then the 14.5 isn't exactly the best tool for the job, although it definitely can be done. Dave Wilson from D. Wilson Manufacturing and myself did so in just a few shots. But that's not really the idea behind the 14.5. Realistically, its role is a mid-range, dual-roll heavy carbine. Need to be able to place hits at 800 yards accurately? It's got you covered. Need some light and fast pointing for your CQB work, but with significantly better terminal ballistics? The 14.5 has got you covered. But what I find most interesting of all with this 14.5 is its unreal performance when compared head-to-head with, say, a 20-inch M110 running 175 grain Sierra Match Kings. Take a look at this data. Here's my own personal data from my M110 I have ran for years. My M110 runs right at 2,560 feet per second muzzle velocity measured by a lab radar with 175 grain pills. Now let's look at the 6.5 running 130 grain burgers. With the same lab radar, I'm at 2,600 feet per second. So let's look at the data here. At 100 yards, velocities are on the 6.5 side, but the energy, no doubt, is in the 175 grain 308's favor. But let's look at some real distances here, because nobody is gonna have a good day on the business end of either platform at 100 yards. At 600 yards, the tables start to turn. The M110 delivers 986 foot-pounds of energy, while the 6.5 is at 880. Just 100 foot-pounds of energy difference, but the 6.5 is moving faster by 150 feet per second. At 800 through 1,000 yards, this is the real deal maker. We are essentially identical here in energy, and the 6.5 has a healthy lead in velocity. This is even more important because right at 1,000 yards, the 175 grain M110 has gone subsonic, which is detrimental to its ballistics and predictability of point of impact. Not only is the 6.5 still supersonic at 1,000 yards, it's staying supersonic until 1,200 yards. That is an additional 200 yards of range you have gained over the M110. Not to mention, your 6.5 pill has a higher ballistic coefficient, meaning it's going to cut wind in atmospheric conditions far greater. That's unreal. A 14.5-inch 6.5 Creedmoor performing nearly neck and neck with a 20-inch M110. So, there it is, gentlemen. The Knights Armament 14.5 6.5 Creedmoor. Is it the way of the future? With that data, I'd have to say so. Do you need one? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. So, go ahead, hop on the interwebs, and get yourself one. You've earned it, King.